I'm Scott Allen Miller. It's the 15th of September, 2022, and this is my vlog of daily life in Nicaragua, and today it has been very hectic. It's Thursday, and today is the biggest holiday of the week. It is a week-long holiday week for the La Semana del Patria, which is the celebration of the homeland here in Nicaragua, which I had mentioned, but today is the big holiday for it, and so finally, I've managed to get enough work done. It's pushing 3 o'clock. It's not quite, or maybe it's way past. It's way past 3 o'clock. Wow, my day just flies by, and I am finally heading out to the beach to be able to join everyone out there for the events, because our hotel is putting on events today. And so I worked all morning and just nonstop phone calls, was unable to get anything done to allow me to get away from the desk. But I finally got in the taxi. I am on my way to the beach. I'm joining everyone just a few hours late. The kids are set, the dogs are set, and they're going to be hanging out. So that has been my day thus far. And so since I'm doing today's update from the car, I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're coming through the beginning of Sutiava, close to where the barrier is with Labo Rio, but we are solidly into Sutiava at this point. There's no need to look at me, and I'm holding the microphone because I want to make sure you can hear me over the road noise. So I'm actually going to switch hands, put this camera out the window, and let you guys see the ride out to Las Peñitas, because it's pretty cool. So hold on, we're going to move the camera around. All right, I'm hoping that this works out. The GoPro does such an amazing job. You can kind of see me there talking just a little bit, but the GoPro does such a fantastic job of image stabilization and being able to grab everything, and I've got it on no ND filter or anything, so the lens is moving pretty quickly. The shutter is moving pretty quickly. In theory, it's going to be able to grab stuff. Now, if you're looking at it, looks like we're at an angle. We actually are. This part of Sutiava, as it exits town, is on not a real steep incline, but it is an actual incline, and we're going down a bit. And so these houses actually have diagonal foundations. And if you watch my videos where I did the walks, this is the Colegio Calasanz, which I have videoed before, so that you can kind of find us on the map as we go through, and we're pretty close to the neighborhood of San Mateo. So I'm kind of going to narrate what you're going to see here, just because this is unique. It's a bus stop as we go by. And this is the soccer field, or the football field, for the high school. I have no idea what this building is. It has been abandoned as long as we have been here. And this area and this cemetery I walked in one of the previous videos for just this little bit here. I think this road here is about the final point that I have walked and shown you guys from me walking. So from here on out, it's going to be kind of open road off to the side. Now, we've done videos where you've seen out the windshield in the past, but we've never done one out the side as we just do a taxi drive. We got a horse here. There we go. And so this is the Puente Arlenciu, and so Puente is just bridge, but that means straight back from here is that park that I walked to, but I didn't do it out on this main road, but that's where the zoo, and there's a really large city park, and it's weird because it's really well hidden and you have no idea it's there, and when you get there, it is a really big facility, which is pretty surprising. I am on the passenger side, so I'm looking out to the right, so we are facing north. If you're taking Nicaragua 14 or Nica 14, heading west or kind of southwest out to Ponaloya in Las Peñitas, that is the direction we're heading, and you're looking north. We're out into the farmland now. This is technically still Sutiava the entire way, but this region here starts to get into all the fincas and the quintas, which are, the fincas are the working farms, and the quintas are like the really ritzy country homes that people, like this one right there, like that place is seriously off the hook, really, really expensive and really nice. Those are popular along here, and a friend of mine actually has one of these, and I have not been out to see her place yet, so one of these days I hope to get to see that. It's surprising along here, you don't normally get this kind of railing along the ditches in most places. This is unique. I don't know anywhere else that I've seen this for a long stretch like this. And everywhere you go, you may have seen people flash past. There really are people out walking everywhere. And I mean, technically, we're still sort of in the city's zone, But as you can tell, this is pretty wide open, but there are little communities along here for about another 30 to 45 seconds. But really quickly, we're going to be wide out in the country. But even in the farther extents, when we get as remote as can be on this particular path, there is always going to be people along the way. They walk along the road, that there's houses sprinkled along, and it's just people get around on foot all the time. So now I don't know if it's going to rain today, but it is starting to look a little bit cloudy, and we are heading towards the time of day when rain is going to happen. So there's every possibility that we're going to have a rainy one once we get out to the beach. So we actually have DJs and a whole bunch of events going on, and we were trying to get out and do stuff last night. So yesterday I did my video and ended that in the middle of the afternoon with the intent of getting back and going straight on to my second meeting of the day. That was scheduled at 5 o'clock, and I was recording around 4 o'clock if you watched yesterday's video. So I did get back and I got the upload started, and then pretty much immediately was getting ready to go out to that meeting, my first one having been canceled or pushed off until Friday. So tomorrow morning, today being Thursday, tomorrow morning I have my 2 o'clock from today rescheduled at 10 a.m. I also have a 9 a.m. I'm very busy. So I got back and was ready for my 5 o'clock, and was also scheduling crew coming in from Managua who had to get out to the beach because they're going in to help out with the events today. So we're very, very busy. Plus we have a new, hopefully new web designer who has started and is working on learning web design so that she can join the team. So it's a junior position, but there's a lot of work going in trying to make her ready. So we did a lot of work with that as well. So starting at about 5 o'clock, about 4:45, I was standing by, and sorry for the very boring view. The high banks make for just some close grass and not much to see. We started, when are you coming out? Where are we meeting? Because I didn't have the address of where to go. And I started getting these delays of, my ride hasn't shown up yet. And then by about 6 o'clock, we were already quite late. And I'm like, okay, can you bring friends out with you to make the trip make more sense when you do make it? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, cool. When are we gonna? Well, I gotta call security and make sure they have access to the place that we're having the meeting. Okay, and it just kept getting delayed by about 7:30. It was, I got the ride in, so I'm going to the meeting now. Okay, so if you leave at 7:30, you can get there at 8. I need to know where to go. Well, I want to get there first so I can make sure it's all good. Okay. And then, but the car I'm in is full, so I can't bring the people I said I was going to bring. Okay, so every plan for the evening gets changed, and then he came in for the meeting and never texted me again, and I never knew where to go and if they were ready or what happened. And even today, I'm now recording late in the afternoon, and I have no idea what the situation was, why we didn't have a meeting, did he lose his phone? Did something happen? Did he just completely forget that the entire day was set aside for this meeting? So I waited until 10 o'clock at night to try to have this meeting, and then finally at that point, when I hadn't been answered in a while, just gave up. But at no point was it ever canceled. It just didn't happen. So that was a very frustrating evening. At that point, I just started wrapping up any projects I was working on, and I talked to Liesl, and she's like, yeah, let's watch something. So I headed over, and Liesl and I watched on Netflix the original 1991 Addams Family, which she's never seen anything of the Addams Family, right? Which, why would she? It was originally a TV series in 1964 with John Astin, and it only ran for 2 seasons. It wasn't actually a big thing, but it was enough that we had it in reruns when I was a child, so it was something we knew really well. I didn't realize there were only 2 seasons, so I've probably seen every episode multiple times, even though it wasn't a show that I watched very much. And it's extra funny to me because, to me, John Astin is a really familiar actor that when I see him, I'm just like, oh, it's John Astin. Like, you see him all the time. And he's the adoptive father of Sean Astin, right? So, you're like, oh, yeah, I totally know who this is, and it would never occur to me that he's really only famous for doing the Addams Family and only for 2 seasons. That's really weird because he feels like a pretty big actor to me. Not obviously a Hollywood blockbuster, huge actor, but big enough that you totally recognize him anytime he's on TV. And I had no idea I thought that was a little thing he did on the side, not the thing that he was famous for. But anyway, the Addams Family movie, I hadn't realized, was the 25th anniversary of the show going off the air is when they made it. And when you watch the movie, they actually do a thing to explain the plot that Fester has been missing for 25 years. I never put those numbers together or was aware of any of those pieces to know that I'm going to turn the camera on myself here because we are coming through a police road stop and I don't want to be hanging out the window recording the police as we go by. That would be really awkward. So we're just hanging out here for a minute as we drive by. I don't think anything's going on. It's just a normal, well, maybe everyone's getting pulled over. I'm not sure. We will hold on for just a second. But so the Addams Family, I disappeared. The Addams Family was made on the 25th anniversary of the show going off the air, and the plot of the show is that Fester Addams was had amnesia for 25 years and didn't remember who he was and had been missing. And so that's actually, okay, we're past. It's just a regular routine drug check, but they do it during holidays. It gets like a big thing to stop and just inspect the cars because so many people go out that don't normally go out. So it's just an opportunity to check papers and that sort of thing. Anyway, so it actually coincides with the show going off the air that something happened to Fester, and that's when the movie was. But if you didn't know all those dates and actually know it was 25 years, like that's a really kind of critical plot point or really important Easter egg that's kind of generally missing for most people. So I thought that was interesting. Liesl actually liked the movie. I didn't have a lot of hope that she was going to be into the movie because, it's the Addams Family. Like, it's goofy and it's dark and it's her kind of humor for the most part. So I had some hope. But it was low, and mostly we wanted to watch it because it's come up a few times in Netflix, and people have mentioned it, and of course the song is iconic, and it's like this is just a bit of Americana that Liesl should know, especially given her kind of taste in things. And the big thing is that the Addams Family 3 Wednesday is coming out really soon on Netflix and looks to be pretty good, like a pretty good upgrade over the original movies, or update at least, because the originals were 91 and Addams Family Values, Addams Family 2 in 1993. So it has been more than another 25 years since those came out. That's actually a really weird thing to think about, is that it has been much longer since the second Addams Family movie came out till now than it was from the time that the original show started to when the original show went off the air to when the first movie came out. The entire run of from 1964 to 1993 was only 29 years, and that included both seasons and both movies. From 1993 until now is also 29 years. So the gap since the last movie till now is the same amount of time as all of the Addams Family stuff ever made before was in. So that's a weird thing for me to think about, because when the Addams Family movie came out when I was young, it seemed like it was a new movie about something incredibly old, and now it seems like a semi-reasonable amount of time to have waited to make the third installment of the series. So man, does your perspective of time change a lot in these situations. But that's coming out on Netflix. It is Netflix only, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. So we think that she's going to want to watch that. So we wanted to watch the originals. Unfortunately, Addams Family 2 does not appear to be on Netflix. So if someone knows where to watch that, let me know. But we'll find it somewhere. But she really liked it. She was like, that was good. Goofy, silly. Like, she's like, yeah, it's the Addams Family. What do you want? She has a very realistic view. But so that is how we spent our evening. And when that was over, I watched a little bit of David Manning on the pre-release testing of the GoPro Hero 11 that came out yesterday. Well, it came out it came out yesterday. So when I was watching it at the time, it was the current night that it had released. And it's definitely looking really interesting. And his take on the HDR 10-bit dynamic range improvements are that it really does make a difference, and that when he's doing his editing, he can really see it. So that's exciting, because that's what I'm really looking forward to in the 11. Plus, there's a few things, like putting it all together. I'm looking forward to it overall. But I think that's the biggest feature for me. So at this point, we're probably most of the way out to the beach. We're doing pretty well. We're starting to get into the open farmland. It's surprising, but a number of cattle are actually raised out in this area. And any minute we're going to come over a rise and be able to see the ocean. Now, in yesterday's video, this is actually kind of nostalgic. In yesterday's video, I mentioned going past the Hotel Azul in downtown Leon, and that is where Dominica and the girls and I stayed in 2015 when we first came to Leon on our first trip to this part of the country ever. And on that trip, we saw Leon, and we did some of the Leon touristy stuff, probably as much touristy stuff as we've ever done. I don't think we've done any since we've been back. And while we were there, because I drove there, we rented a car, I drove through the outskirts of town and through a path that actually, having lived here now for a year and a half, we never went down that path, and I don't think like Paul or Dominica has been down it at all, but with one of the taxi drivers, he likes to go this really backwoods path by the Sutiava airport to bypass the main road. And when we do that, it actually ends up going on the road that I took, that Dominica and I had this adventure on with the kids in 2015, trying to get out to the beach. And of course, that's where we're going now, is the beach. But we drove this road, and the road was really rough. It was in the middle of nowhere, and we were like, this is absolutely crazy, but it's where Google Maps took us. And then we couldn't get through it at the end. It was not a through road. Only horse-drawn carriages back there, the carts, could get through. And so I have this really strong memory of having to deal with that because the car was stuck, and it was going to bottom out on the actual dip in the road, so there was no like fixing it by like going a different way or like backing up, or it was really rough. And so we ended up having to drive through the side of a business and on this dirt path by the side of a building, and I still know where that building is. And there's been times we've gone past that intersection. I'll point it out to Dominica, and it's always takes a bit for her to figure out what I'm talking about and try to remember it, because she wasn't the driver, so it wasn't as dramatic for her. And but he now, our taxi, once in a while will take that path, and every time I'm like, I drove this 7 years ago, but it was going out to Ponaloya. And on that trip, we just went out and played on the beach and had a beer, and it was like, we were so unimpressed with Ponaloya back then that it was really hard to convince Dominica it was something that we wanted to move to now when we discovered it. But it's grown up so much that it's a totally different experience than it was in 2015. But that is all very nostalgic for me, that road and that path, and the Hotel Azul and all that. And it's easy to forget that we were here in Ponaloya all those years ago, because it's just so different. And sorry for the camera shaking. I've been holding it for so long that my hand is starting to shake. So anyway, that was our evening last night. I am now really close to Ponaloya. We're going to be here any minute coming into the town, but I'll keep the camera going as we go through Las Peñitas so you can see the trip through town. I think this is actually, I'm hoping that this turns out, not something I'm going to do very often, one, because this is actually painful holding the camera like this, like seriously, this hurts. But, oh, there's some cattle you can see there. But it's something different, and I know you guys like getting different footage, because you know, you guys are sitting there having your coffee every morning watching this show, and getting the same thing every day is a bit much. So I like finding ways to shake it up and get some variety or whatever. And this is pretty good. I really like this field here just because it's a pretty field, but there are cattle out there. I'm hoping you can see them as well. This is a really nice area, and this would be considered in the village. It's just on the extreme outskirts. We're coming by the first bus stop in town here in just a second, but it's on the left, so you're not going to see it. But you will start to see more and more people walking along the road as we come into town. So this morning, got up and just had to get to work. Dominica was already out at the hotel because she is managing the hotel, and with the big event, she's got to be there the night before. And we're now in a position where we're trying to make sure that the hotel is never left to its own devices. So some combination of Dominica, Paul, me, Albert, and Ida, the 5 managers, are trying to always have at least one of us staying at the hotel on any given night, so that whoever's on security always has a manager to turn to for whatever might be going on. There's just so much happening all the time now that it seems necessary. And we're turning left right now off of Nicaragua 14 onto the beach road of Las Peñitas, and you're going to see the new sign right there, so you can tell where we are at the head of town. And heading into, so this is now Las Peñitas. That turnoff takes us from the Ponaloya Road into Las Peñitas. This is the brand new police station that was just built in the last few months. It's quite nice. They got some new trucks too. They got new trucks as like a reward for getting a new building. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Like the rewards are, you got a new building, you get new trucks. Well, just keep giving us new stuff and we'll get more new stuff. It's great. It's a funny system. This open field we're going past right now is where they throw really big events. They put up like giant outdoor concert venue stuff and put on huge concerts, normally sponsored by the beer companies out there. We're hoping to give that a try at some point. This is kind of the residential part of town. Mostly we're just going by houses. Right here, this is the university annex. This is Unan Leon, but they have, obviously, the only thing they do out here is the agricultural studies. So if you're in that particular program, you could end up out here. That's a buddy of ours' house. And a lot of this, if you watch my older videos, you will have seen all of this many times. I used to film the show walking this road every day or nearly every day. It surprises me thinking about it that I spent the majority of the vlog on this road, more here than anywhere else. But looking back, I was just looking at this the other day, when I used to walk this road and live on the beach, was to me not that long ago, but in vlog terms, we only had about 10%. Literally, only 1 out of 10 of you was a subscriber to the vlog back when I lived here. And a lot of the videos from when we were here have a total number of views of like between 25 and 50, which we now get between 25 and 50 views within the first hour of the first day of the release of any given video. So it is a completely different experience. So there's a good chance that about 90% of you have, maybe you've seen this road in 1 or 2 videos that you've gone back and watched, but you haven't seen very much of it because clearly not a lot of people have gone back and watched the early videos, and legitimately the vlog was not nearly as interesting. Of course, I say that on a day where I'm just pointing the camera out the window and talking incessantly for an entire 25-minute trip out to the beach before even getting the video started for the day. But other than today being an exceptionally different and long vlog, I think that it's just interesting to me how much I put in effort to recording so much of the time that we were out here. Now, of course, I did miss a lot of days. This is back before I was managing to maintain a daily vlog, but the amount that was put into this and the amount that I filmed this area, and now looking back and being like, nobody watched those, and all the people who have joined have now only been here since we were in Leon, and so it's so focused on Leon compared to what it used to be that it's kind of a different show. So it's nice to be back and film all this. So if you have not seen all of this, here it is. This is the Las Peñitas Road. We're only going about 2/3 of the way because we're going to stop at the Simple Beach Lodge, and we're coming past Playa right now. In case you need a landmark, trees came down in the storm. Holy cow! That was not there a couple days ago. All right, we are pulling into, that's Playa pulling into the Simple Beach Lodge here, which is clearly very busy. I mean, we do have an event, so of course it is, but this is a lot of cars. The entire circle, or the corner here, is impassable from the number of cars. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and we're gonna head into the Simple Lodge as soon as we can get a spot to park. We had a pretty exciting day on the beach, but I was busy and unable to get a lot of video. So I took a few shots as we were there and am recording the rest of the update later. But it did turn out pretty well. I like the drive out for the most part, although a lot of the scenery flying by sideways was a little bit much. But we had a great day. We had a DJ out on the beach, and we had what's called an animador, which is basically the Nicaraguan equivalent of the guy in the United States who goes, "This Sunday, Sunday, Sunday," and gets everybody all excited. So we were doing announcements during the thing. They're doing shot specials, and we had a pretty good turnout. We had probably 50 or 60 people out at the beach, and remember, it's the middle of the week, so that we had so many people was really good. I hung out for quite a while and stayed until it was pretty late and got dinner for the kids and headed back to the house after the activities on the beach were done. But it was a very successful day. We're glad that we did it. It was a lot of fun, and we had a good turnout. Got to hang out with Sean and Cindy for a little bit. They are heading back tomorrow, I believe, back to Arizona. They're going to be gone for 6 months, but then they hope at the end of that 6 months moving permanently back to Nicaragua. So we were hoping to have them back soon and living on the beach And this is the place to be. Everybody wants to move to Nicaragua as soon as they can figure it out. Thanks for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. Put your comments below. And if you'd like to support the channel, there is a Buy Me a Coffee link, hopefully down in the subscription. Really appreciate everyone and what you do for this channel. I will see you all tomorrow.